The river is sign of their death. For 3 cycles of the sun, the clan of Homo habilis has been pinned against the limestone cliffs. Their world shrunk into a single cave mouth and a dusty ledge overlooking the water that was once their lifeblood. Thirst is a rasp in their throats, a fire in their bellies. The children no longer cry, they have forgotten the use of tears. Instead, they watch the river. They all watch the river. The tyrant has claimed it. The Spinosaurus does not roar or rampage. It simply exists, a monument of predatory patience. It lies half submerged in the deepest channel, a fallen log of unimaginable size, but for the slow, hypnotic twitch of its crocodile-like snout and the great, fan-like sail that cleaves the water's surface. Its crown is a lacework of skin and bone, a terrifying flag of dominion stitched together by the grotesque extensions of its noble spine. When it moves, it is with the silent, inevitable grace of a landslide. It killed Kale 2 suns ago, not with a furious charge, but with a simple, languid lifting of its head from the water as he crept to the shallows, its conical teeth a cage that snapped shut before he could scream. Now his bones, picked clean, are part of the riverbed. This is the brutal reality of their prehistoric life, a constant negotiation with monsters. Oka, the elder whose knuckles are thick with the memory of shaping the first stones, watches her people shrink. Their survival skills are failing. The berries on the high slopes are gone, and the small game has fled, sensing the suffocating presence of the apex predator. These ancient humans are trapped. The valley, once a sanctuary, is now a tomb with a single, guarded exit. She sends Lek, a young scout whose feet are as quiet as moss, on a desperate gambit. Up into the treacherous maze of canyons that form the valley's spine, an old waterway, a seep anything. It is a choice born of dwindling hope, sending one of their best into the unknown, a potential sacrifice to the indifferent landscape. Lek is gone for a full day and a night. The clan huddles deeper in the cave, the gnawing hunger a living thing among them, whispering of defeat. But he returns just as the morning sun bleeds across the sky, his skin torn and his eyes wide with a terrifying light. He carries no water. He brings something else. He babbles, his words clumsy with exhaustion and awe, of a hidden passage, a high meadow, and a herd. They heard of giants with tall, curved crests on their heads. The Prehistory Europeachus. As he was watching them from a high ridge, the herd leader lifted its head and called. It was a sound that felt bolder than the mountains, a deep, resonating drone that vibrated in Lek's teeth and bones, a sound that seemed to bend the very air. The sound wave rolled down the canyon, washing over the valley below. And then Lek saw it. From his vantage point, he could see the entire river bend where the tyrant reigned. The Spinosaurus, the unmovable god of the water, reacted. It thrashed. The great hunter flinched as if struck by a spear, shaking its massive head. Its jaws opened not in a roar of aggression, but in a silent scream of agony. It scrambled clumsily towards the deeper water, disoriented, its terrifying sail cutting a panicked, zigzagging wake. The drone faded, and the beast slowly settled, but it was disturbed, its silent vigil shattered. Lek scrambles back to the cave, his thirst forgotten. He has found the tyrant's weakness. He carries no water. He carries a weapon made of sound. Hope is a dangerous food, but it is all they have. The clan gathers around Oka, their faces etched with the stark lines of hunger and fear. Lek repeats his story, this time with gestures, mimicking the Prehistory Europeachus's crested head, the deep intake of breath, and then humming the sound, a low, desperate vibration in his chest. It is a pathetic imitation, but it holds a seed of truth. Anka listens not with her ears, but with her entire body. She feels the memory of the sound in the marrow of her bone, an echo carried by Lek's desperate energy. A plan forms behind her eyes, a piece of foresight so audacious it borders on madness. To fight a monster not with stone or fire, but with noise. She sends the swiftest of the clan's youth scrambling up the cliffs, not for berries, but for the hard-shelled gourds that grow high in the sun, clinging to withered vines. It is a new purpose for an old resource, the very genesis of primitive technology driven by desperation. The cave is filled with the scraping and gouging of their ancient tools. Stone flakes, sharpened, crude, work tirelessly against the tough rinds, their rhythmic rasp the only sound that defies the valley's oppressive silence. The work is a frantic race against their own body's decay. They hollow the gourds until the walls are thin enough to vibrate. They stretch strips of dried animal sinew across the openings, tightening them until they hum with a sharp, alien note when plucked. This is a new kind of creation for these human ancestors, not for carrying water or storing seeds, but for stealing a god's thunder. They are trying to master the physics without knowing the word, guided only by instinct and Dokea's unwavering focus. The first tests are a failure. The men blow into the gourd holes, producing hollow, breathy whistles. The women tap them with stones, creating dull, empty thuds. The sounds are a mockery of the Perisei Europiatrus's majestic call. A wave of despair washes over the clan. The tyrant in the river remains silent, unmoved. The children, weakened and listless, watch the useless instruments with blank eyes. This is the crux of their existence as early humans, the razor-thin margin between a breakthrough and extinction. Oka does not yield. She sees the failure not as an end, but as a missing piece. She remembers Lek's description of the sound vibrating in his teeth. It was not one note, but many. It was deep and high at the same time. A community of sound. She orchestrates them like a force of nature. She has the strongest men, their chests broad and hollow with hunger. From a line at the back of the cave, she commands them to hum, a low guttural drum that mimics the earth itself. She has the women take the gourds not to blow, but to use their own voices, pitching them high and sharp into the openings, letting the hollow shells amplify and distort the sound. It is a cacophony, a discordant mess of noise, but within it, a new vibration struggles to be born. She directs them, raising a hand to deepen the men's drone, a sharp gesture to heighten the women's cries. Slowly, painfully, the notes begin to merge. They weave together into a chord that is both jarring and profound, a sound that makes the dust on the cave floor dance. It is the ugliest, most beautiful thing they have ever created. And from the river below, for the first time in days, there is an answer, a single, violent splash of a massive tail, a sound of pure, irritated fury. The tyrant has heard their challenge. The war begins at dawn. There is no charge, no throwing of spears. The clan moves with the grim purpose of priests preparing a ritual sacrifice. They are not warriors going into a dinosaur battle, they are conductors of an orchestra of fear. They take their positions along the canyon ledge, a pathetic line of frail hominids clutching their gourds and resonant stones. Below, the Spinosaurus rests in the misty water, a sleeping mountain of teeth and hunger. The anthropology of this moment is stark intelligence against instinct, community against solitary power. This is not about killing the beast, an impossible task. It is about reclaiming their world. Oka stands at the center, her old hands raised not to a god, but to her people. She gives the signal. The men at the back of the line begin their drone, a deep, earth-shaking hum that rolls down the cliff face. It is the foundation, the bedrock of sound. The women lift the gourds to their lips and scream into them. The ugly, amplified notes rip through the morning calm, a sonicus orc designed to unmake a monster's mind. The canyon walls, ancient and different, become their greatest ally, catching the sound, layering it, multiplying it until the air itself seems to shred. The effect on the Spinosaurus is immediate and violent. It rises from the water with a bellow of agony, a sound dripped from the deepest parts of the Mesozoic era. This is not the roar of a predator, but the shriek of a creature under neurological attack. The layered frequencies assault its senses, the very ones that make it such a perfect hunter. It thrashes in the shallows, its massive claws tearing furrows in the riverbed. Its great sail, now a flag of distress, quivers uncontrollably. The beast is confused, blind with pain, trapped in a prison of sound. It charges the cliffside, its long jaws snapping at the air, trying to kill the noise. Boulders dislodged by its frantic assault rain down around the clan, and one of the younger men, Elan, is struck, his leg crushed in a spray of blood and bone. This is the hard choice made real, the price of their plan, an act of altruism paid in another's flesh. His cry is swallowed by the overwhelming cacophony. The clan is a single entity now, a machine of noise, their individual fears burned away by the heat of their collective purpose. The Spinosaurus, driven mad by the unrelenting sonic barrage, finally breaks. It cannot fight what it cannot bite. The predator's mind, so perfectly wired for the hunt, is now its greatest vulnerability. With a final, desperate roar, it turns its back on the cliffs, on the source of its torment, and crashes downstream. It does not flee with grace. It flees like a broken thing, a titan dethroned by a sound it cannot comprehend, a fundamental blow to its reign in this prehistoric world. The clan holds the note until the great sail is a distant speck, a bad memory fading into the morning haze. Then, one by one, they fall silent. The sudden absence of noise is more profound than the din itself. For a long moment, the only sound is the ragged gasps of their own breath and Diolan's quiet moans of pain. They are exhausted, wounded, and still starving. But as they look down from the ledge, they see the river. It flows, clear and silent, free. They do not cheer. Victory is not a celebration, it is a reprieve. They carry Elan back to the cave, his life forever marked by the price of their water. The river, once a place of death, now offers life. They drink, and it is a sacrament. They find the half-eaten carcass of a large fish the Spinosaurus abandoned in its flight, and they eat. This single event, this desperate act of acoustic warfare, is more than a successful hunt. It is a fundamental shift in the grand, brutal narrative of human evolution. They did not confront the monster's strength, they discovered its weakness. They did not rely on sharper stones or stronger arms, they weaponized the unseen, the intangible. This is the moment a new path is carved through the bedrock of prehistory. The instant our human ancestors learned that the greatest predator on this ancient earth could be defeated not by matching its power, but by understanding its mind, their desperate gamble becomes the seed of strategy, of artifice, of the uniquely human audacity to reshape the rules of survival. This is the forge of our species. What greater terrors wait in the shadows? Now that the silence is broken,